maturity comes with mental and psychological interventions. So if as a parent you have only provided the basic needs, it's very nice, it's very good, because a child cannot do without the basic needs. So if you just provided the basic needs and now you think, now I'm the best parent in the world, I've done my best, you've just done the bare minimum. The most important part is yet, because maturity of a child, we have now what we call growing up, and we have what we call growing old. Most parents always help their kids to grow up. The child is 1 month, 1 year, from there 5 years, from there 10 years, from there 20 years, from there 70 years. So you've done a nice job, because you've fed him, and that food has helped him accumulate enough weight, enough energy to be able to maneuver in one way or another in his or her life. But you have left out the most important aspect of a child, which is growing up. And growing up of a child, which is now the element of maturity, is what now shapes the future, is now what shapes what the child becomes behaviorally, mentally, and even emotionally. All those levels. Because if that's why even today you find so many people who have grown old, because they are in their 50s and 60s and 70s, but looking at them and assessing their behavior, you come to realize that they never grew up. They only grew old, but at some point, maybe around 15 years of their age, they stopped growing up and they just started growing old. These are old guys who are going to behave like teenagers. Here's somebody who is 60 years old, but he is sleeping with a Form 3 child, moving from one girl to another, if it's a man. Impregnates that one, then disappears. Impregnates another one, then disappears. And some of them, I even tell them that they do not even have respect for the beards and vitambis and wakonazo, because sometimes you've had such behaviors. Then you ask yourself, how did we get here? That this is an old person who forgot how to grow up. He just grew old and old and old, and he continued celebrating birthdays after birthdays after birthdays. But he has never celebrated even a single birthday of growing up. He has only grown old. So all this is deeply rooted in parenting. And now, parenting means that those involved, it could be both parents, it could be one parent, it could be a guardian, that person who is involved in taking care of the child, because now we are at the level of, bringing up the child, then intentionally, this parent or this guardian is intentional on the things they are doing and the things they are saying, generalizing that to say that the manner by which they are behaving and carrying themselves in the presence of the child. Because when the child is growing up, I didn't say old, but I said when the child is growing up, for a child to grow up, all you need is just a heap of food. A good heap of food. It's going to make sure that that child grows old smoothly with not much complications. But growing up is intentional. A parent has to be intentional. If a child has to grow up and grow up in a healthy psychological manner. So if these parents are not intentional and careful and watchful and mindful of their own behaviors in the presence of a child, that becomes the first element which now starts the cycle of deteriorating the mental health of this child, not just when this being is a child, but even when they become adults. Because I've seen so many parents who are so good at telling their kids, please stop using drugs. But when this guardian or when this parent is telling this child to stop using drugs, he is drunk at that particular moment. He's saying something like, whoa, Kenodi. Si unaona mimi nimekusomesha vizuri. Usitumie bangi, usitumie pombe kwa sababu itaharibu maisha yako. Naongea kama Mwai Kibaki. But at that particular moment when he is telling his son not to abuse drugs, he is already intoxicated at that particular moment. So if parents can be intentional, and I've seen one case of a mother, sorry to say, but she was a single mother, whose behavior interfered, I would even say disabled, her daughter's life as a teenager and even as an adult. So this lady, I can't call her a parent. I would only say that she was a lady. She was a single mother, and I wouldn't want to use the word starting with the letter HON plus else the other things. You can add other letters by yourselves, HON, and then ongeza hizo zingine, but that word is used to imply that he is somebody who has a very strong sexual desire, HO and the rest. So she was very sexually active. So she used to bring men in the house, and I've not said a man, I've said men in the house where she was living with her daughter. So this continued from time to time, such that it got to a point where in a week 3 men would set their feet in that house, and the teenager is there because she was going for alikuwa anaenda day school, and this woman, I've said I'm not going to call her a mother, this lady or this woman used to bring these men mostly at night. So this girl is watching. She can I almost said she can see everything that is happening, everything that the mother is doing. It got to a point where sometimes she started getting busy with work. So there are men who would come when she is not yet in the house. So because this girl, who was I think at that particular time she was around 17 years, had seen the behavior that the mother had, and every time a man came, because her bedroom and the mother's bedroom were just adjacent to each other, she could hear the noises, and she was like, I don't think my mother is crying tears of sadness, I think she is crying tears of joy. So every man that comes, I think my mom gets happier. So when these men started coming in, and this lady, now the mother to the child is not there, to the girl is not there. So the girl now adopted the behavior of sleeping with the same men that her mother is sleeping with. So it got to a point now she realized she was HIV positive and the mother is HIV positive, and that is where the quarrel started. So the mother started complaining, telling her, I did not raise you like that. I did not teach you such bad behaviors, But in this whole scenario, yes, mom, you didn't teach me. You didn't tell me to go out there sleeping with men. But you did the best by showing me that actually that is what I should do. So kids grow up with the concept of man ke see, man ke do. They do what they see adults do. So then don't expect as a parent that you are going to do this and tell your child to do the other. Your child is actually going to do what he or she can see you do. Please, if the she and she are competing somewhere around my lips, please understand that conflict, because I come from Nyandarua. The Waru things, the Viazi things are really complicating things here. So the she and she, and they are really a big challenge. So please forgive me for that. So she could see what the mother was doing, and so she parroted that. She started behaving the same. So as parents, we have to be very intentional from the word go. Because we always tell parents this, that when you are bringing up that child, you're not just bringing up your child, you're bringing up somebody's dad and somebody's husband. If it's a girl, you're bringing up someone's mother and someone's wife. So where you are nurturing the child, in this child, make sure that equally you are nurturing the man, you are nurturing the father, and you are nurturing the husband in this boy. Or you are bringing up a girl, make sure that equally or simultaneously, you are not just nurturing the girl, you are nurturing the wife, and you're also nurturing the mother in the girl. Because you find most adults at their adulthood, you are an adult, and there's still a girl in you as a woman which is craving for attention. There's a girl in you as a woman which is still craving for attention. It is craving for validation. A girl which is craving for love that you never received from your parents while you are growing up. And then within you now, there's a conflict because you have come to realize as an adult that my parents had the time, my parents had the resources, my parents had the opportunity to raise up a girl who is loved, who is well taken care of emotionally and psychologically, but they didn't do that. So the girl in you, in your 50s, in your 30s, in your 20s, is seeking revenge. The girl in you is telling you, I need to revenge. My parents never gave me what was very important. So the girl in you is telling you, please go for revenge. But again, the adult in you now, the woman in you now, is telling you, so please, you need to relax. If you start these fights, if you start these endless cycles of complaining, of wanting to revenge, your life is going to become chaotic. After all, you already have a daughter to take care of. Now, if you listen to the girl in you who is telling you to go for revenge, you're going to hurt your daughters. You're going to hurt your sons. Your business is going to suffer. Your career is going to suffer. Personally, you are going to suffer. So this conflict is coming in because the parents relaxed when it comes to nurturing a holistically healthy child. So when, as a parent, you're bringing up your kids, I'm just going to mention about 4 or 5 things that parents are doing that is actually messing up the mental health of their kids. I want to start with number 1, which is control. If as a parent, you develop this notion, you develop this idea that this is my child, there's someone else who is saying that the small boy in him is really demanding attention. That is a product of, upbringing. I think I've only mentioned about the girl. But also men have a boy who is craving for attention. That's why sometimes you see men, ukijaribu kumwacha, anasema afadhali akuue. You are either mine or you are nobody's. Either ukue wangu ama wewe hakuna mtu mwingine utakuwa naye. So kama ni kuachana na kuua. So that is a very possible case of an upbringing issue, because there is somebody who grew up with rejection. So if you are rejected by your parents, and most parents think that, sorry, I wanted to talk about control, but I will go back to that person who have sent that message, and that is why I said that I want this discussion to be more of an engagement, of a discussion. Of a discussion, not just a presentation. Pure Hope Foundation, there's someone who have said the small boy in me really needs attention. So what I was saying is this, that it's not only girls who suffer from upbringing issues. You find a man in their 30s who cannot handle rejection because all they have grown up with, all they have grown old with is rejection. And most parents think that rejection is saying to your son or your daughter, I don't love you, or I don't care about you, or you are useless, or those words carries a stronger form of rejection. But another form of rejection that parents don't understand is number 1, where you wake up in the morning, you leave your child in bed, and then you show up at night when your child is asleep. The only time that your child has a taste of who you are, of the mother, of the father, is during the weekends. So this communicates to the child that my parents gave birth to me. It's as if they never really wanted me. So instead of bringing me up, they are busy doing their own business and their career and all that. And then mimi wakanipatiana kwa house help. It's like now the house help is my mother, or is playing the role of my parents. Well, with the economy thing, I have no problem with a parent being very proactive and being very hardworking, or whichever word you can give it. I have no problem with that, but not at the expense of your child. Make sure that ukitafuta hiyo kuomoka unatafuta, ukitafuta hiyo nyumba mzuri unataka kukaa, ukitafuta hiyo gari mzuri unataka kununua, ukitafuta hiyo a piece of rad or oil that you want to buy that is being advertised in the TV, the pieces of rad that people are buying, they are oils. Eh? So, where you are busy creating wealth and generating wealth, remember you have a human being that you brought in this world who not even equally, who even more requires your attention and your presence. So make sure that you have learned how to balance between kutafuta pesa na being there for your child. So let us be very intentional when it comes to parenting. Now, I wanted to say about 4 or 5 things that most parents are doing that are putting the mental health of their kids, even later in life, at stake or at risk. Number 1, we have control. Most parents have this idea. I gave birth to you, so you are mine. I gave birth to you. I carried you for 9 months in my womb. You suckled my breasts. You stayed under my roof. I fed you. I clothed you. So you are my property. You are mine. There's nothing as dangerous as when a parent has the mindset that this child is my property. Because if you believe and you have that idea that this is my property, you are going to misuse it, you are going to abuse it, you are going to use that property to serve your own desires, to serve your own cravings, to serve your own selfish needs and goals. This is where, because this parent believes that this child is my property, you are going to do the course that I say. You are going to marry or get married to the person that I say. You are going to dress as I say. You are going to behave, you are going to think, you are going to live as I say. Why? Because you are my property. When as a parent you want to make your child like a puppet, that you are controlling every bit of their life. You are controlling their decisions, you are controlling what they wear, you're controlling what they should do and what everything to the little tiny bit of it. That's a big mistake. And especially when we are talking about kids who are from around 15 years and above. A child who is around 15 years, whether you like it or not as a parent, she needs some level of freedom. This child needs to taste dependency. But for as long as a parent you are making even the decision ya huyu mtoto atakuwa anavalia suruali za ndani zinakaa karagani. Hapana, mimi as your mother, I don't prefer that you wear brown. I don't prefer that you wear maroon. I don't prefer that, no, buy pink ones only. Buy whatever ones, So when that happens, then what you're bringing up is not a child, but a slave. What you're bringing up is someone who is going to live under the mercies of everyone else. Because this child has grown up, and especially when it comes to teenagehood. Huyu mtoto ako 15 years old, lakini hata hawezi jimekia hata decision moja. Hata decision ya kulala saa ngapi hawezi make. Decision ya kuamka saa ngapi hawezi make. Hata siku moja huwezi mpa ruhusa hata wakati yako nyumbani umwambie now today I want you to decide what we are going to eat. Because it is those little pieces of those things that seems insignificant to a parent that actually makes the sense to a child. Siku moja tu hivi holiday, mtoto wako nyumbani, badala ya kumpigia simu umwambie leo tunapika githeri na mchije ile kuku. Well, I don't think unaweza kula kuku na githeri. But either way, kuku yenyewe ni githeri juu imeishi kukula mahindi. But unapiga simu kila jioni, leo tunakula hii. So today enda kwa mama fulani ufanye hivi. Enda ufanye hivi, you know? So you cannot give your child even a single day umwambie nao leo nataka uamue tunakula nini. Whatever you decide is what we are going to eat. You know? That may seem very insignificant to you as a parent, but it means the world to that child. Because that alone is giving that child the idea that I think my voice has a place in this house. I think I'm starting to mature. I think I'm starting to become a grown up. Kama ni mimi leo nimeamua chenye tunakula. Yeah. You know, this child is even feeling a level of confidence. This child cannot have, you know, issues of self-esteem because anajua I have a place in the house. Nyumbani, my voice makes sense. You know, sauti yangu pia inasikika. So, if you do not give your child room to, so that zile decision kidogo ana make, at least allow some of the decisions or the choices zenye huyu mtoto wako anataka zikuwe granted. Not that mtoto wako amekuja na list ya 10 things anafikiria ndio anafaa kufanya, and then unamwambia out of the 10 things including the 11th thing yenye anafikiria atafanya na so far hajaiandika kwa hiyo list. You know, there are parents who will tell a child who is a teenager that hivi vitu yote, hivi vitu 10 umenipatia, hii ni ujinga yote, hakuna kitu nafanya, hii ni utoto uko nayo. Kwanza hata hii wacha hii 10, hata hiyo yenye sasa unafikiria hiyo, hata hiyo unafikiria, nothing is going to be granted here. So every piece of every time that this child shows up to show that they can be, they want to express themselves, they want to show up as the true self, they want to say who they are, they want to say what they want, you shut them up. This is the reason why your daughter will get married and then kila kitu ataambiwa na bwanake atafuata. Because this child grew up in an environment where sauti yake haijawahi sikika. Kila kitu anataka haijawahi timia. So we need to be intentional, especially let us not control our kids as if they are puppets. Let us not make them, because when they grow up, they will depend on their friends to make the decision for them, because they were never given an opportunity to learn how they can make decisions and choices for themselves. So let your child make choices and decisions, but be in control. Monitor. Mwambie hapana, hii nayo hapana, this is too much. Hii ingine na hii uko sawa, hii nayo, this one I agree with you. You know? So let them not be controlled as puppets. Number 2, we have pressure. Not pressure, but pressure. So there's so many parents who are pressurizing their kids to do certain things and to live in certain patterns. Even when this person is 20 years old, bado anapewa pressure. I want an A grade. Nataka next time kama hutakuja na A huku ujue kwenye utaenda. And then sometimes unauliza mzazi, "Now, wewe ulifika class?" And then the parent is like, "Unajua mimi kwanza sikusoma juu wachana kwanza na huku soma juu bra sijui kulikuwa na baridi sijui huku kulikuwa school fees. Wewe ulifika class?" Mimi nilikatalia class 2. Sasa unataka wewe ulifika class 2 na huyu mtoto mwenye amezaliwa na mtu alifika class 2, at least yeye amejaribu amefika class 7. Wewe ulikatalia class 2B. Kwanza B. Afadhali ukikatalia class 2D. Kwanza ulikatalia class 2B. Ulienda tu class 2A, alafu class 2B ukakatalia hapo. Afadhali ukaenda hadi D. But huyu mtoto wako unataka apate A na wewe mwenyewe hata huku hujaona exam na macho. So you find parents who are trying to give their kids pressure to achieve certain goals, certain ambitions, certain visions, certain targets. But these targets are not the child's target. hizi ni target za mtoto. Sorry, za mzazi. Huyu mzazi akiwa mdogo alikuwa anataka kukua daktari. I would like to be a doctor. But unfortunately, hakukuwa daktari. So, whatever happened. Sasa anataka, because I did not become a doctor, one of my child lazima akuwe daktari to fulfill my dream. So, huyu mtoto kama atakuwa daktari, hatakuwa daktari juu anataka. Huyu mtoto atakuwa daktari juu mamake hata before amzae aliamua atakuwa daktari. So, huyu mtoto hata before azaliwe already alikuwa amekufa. That's the reality. Because huyu mtoto before hivi atoke hivi kwa tumbo, already fate yake ilikuwa decided na mamake. So meaning that this child is not going to live their life. This child is going to live the mother's life. The life that the mother failed to live, the goals that the father failed to achieve, they are going to achieve them through their kids. So huyu mtoto hata before azaliwe, already maisha yake ni kama imeisha. Because hataishi life yake, ataishi life ya mzazi. So we need to stop pressuring our kids. Oh, lazima ufanye hivi. Oh, this is what I want. You have so high expectations on your kids. Expectations which you yourself put in the same position, otherwise achieve 5% of them. And you want your child to achieve 100%. And most of these parents are neglectful parents. This is where the parenting style comes in. Mwingine is a neglective parent. Hata huyo mtoto akigrow up, hakuwa kwa maisha ya huyo mtoto. And now this parent has the audacity to show up wakati huyu mtoto amekuwa kwa familia, showing up saying, you know, I'm your father, you know, I'm your mother, and now I want a grandson. Come on. You want a grandson na ulishindwa kunilea mimi mwenyewe. Sasa grandson ndio utapeleka wapi? Granddaughter utapeleka wapi? Na mimi mwenyewe, I never received any love from you. I never received any attention from you. I never received the key fundamental emotional and psychological things that I needed from you. Sasa grandson unataka ufanye nini? You know? So they give you pressure, and then if you dare blame them, then wanasema watoto wa siku hizi hawasikizi, watoto wa siku hizi sijui amekuwa nini, sijui Gen Z, sijui Gen what. So as a parent, you need to make sure that if you failed to achieve something in your life, don't force your child to achieve the goals you failed to achieve. Accept you failed and move on. Accept you failed and wacha mtoto aishi maisha yake kama yeye. Sio achieve goals zako. Wacha mtoto aishi maisha yake. Don't force your child aishi maisha yenye unataka. Number 3. Inability to become the role models that I had mentioned even from the beginning. That you are not a role model. You know, one day I went to speak in a high school, and I asked the students. Now, everyone in the school. So students, I want you to raise up your hands if your parent is your role model. If your parent is your role model, please raise up your hand. Believe me, only the class prefects waliinua mikono, because of course wanataka kumaintain jina mzuri kwa management, na pia waone wa student wengine waone. So a very small number of students had the courage to raise up their hands and say that my mom is my role model. How many parents are what do we call mentors? How many kids can say that my mom is my mentor? How many kids can say that my father is my role model? That when I grow up, I would like to be like my father. When I grow up, I would like to be like my dad. I would like to be like the father. I would like to be the kind of a father my father is to my kids. I would like to be the kind of a husband my dad is to my mother. I would like to be the kind of a wife my mother is to my father. Or I like to be the kind of a mother my mother is to me. How many kids can say that? A very small percentage, if there is any. So as parents, we need to be role models. Wacha kuambia mtoto wako acha kutembea na wanaume, na wewe unalalaga huko kwa nyumba na threesome. Sijui threesome ni nini. Hata sijui jina imetoka wapi by the way. Mimi ni innocent. I'm a very cool kid, very innocent. Sijui ni nini. Lakini hakuna venye utaambia mtoto wako ati wacha kuzurura na wanaume. Sijui wacha kuchat na wanaume usiku. Sijui unasikia ukiongea na wanaume. Na wewe unaleta madume 7 kwa bedroom yako. The next day carpenter lazima akuje kulipress kitanda. Mtu wa stima lazima akuje juu mlingoa hadi stima. You know? So hadi floor mnang'oa hadi tiles. Hao madume wakijaribu unaitwa aje, kuweka nini, what do we call it, whatever that one. So you need to be a role model. Don't tell your son aacha kulala na wasichana huku na kule, lakini wewe wakati unamwambia hivyo umejishikilia, wanaitwa mashore, that one, hata hiyo sijui ni nini. So umejishikilia wasichana wawili na mamake ako nyumbani, alafu unamwambia unajua wasichana ni wabaya, wasichana watakufanya ufilisike. Lakini wewe hapo kuna wenye already wanakupapasa, at that particular moment. Kuna mwenye anakupapasa makwapa, kuna mwenye anakuvuguza devu hivi, ana enjoy what your mother gave you, lakini unaambia kijana wako ati wewe sijui wasichana watakuua, sijui wasichana watakufanya nini. So as parents we need to be role models.